think this entire process, I think anyone that wants to be president owes it to the people of this state to come in front of you and ask for your support. And I'm running to be everyone's president, those who vote for me, and even those who don't.
We don't want you.
Well, you're entitled to your view, sir, and I will respect it. In fact, I will
do the math.
I will protect
you ask
your
cases
rights.
to drop out. It's your turn.
Well,
take your own words.
Now I'm curious, sir.
Time to drop out.
When
sir.
Donald doesn't get to 1237, are you going to call him to drop out?
Donald's definitely going to get to 1237. No, he's going to get more than 1237.
That was an exchange, as we've been telling you, that happened earlier this hour between Senator Ted Cruz, running for president, and a Donald Trump supporter outside of a Cruz event in Indiana. We noticed that it was happening. We decided to watch part of it, and, well, we were fascinated in many ways by what we saw. The former presidential candidate, Ralph Nader, joins us now to talk some more about this. And, you know, this particular clip that we're watching, Mr. Nader, is someone encouraging Cruz to drop out of the race. Do you think that he either will or should come Wednesday morning if Trump wins by a lot in Indiana? Of course, you've been in similar positions where people said, hey, drop out of the race. So what about Cruz?
Not at all. Telling somebody to drop out, Neil, is like telling them not to exercise their right of free speech. You can oppose them, but don't tell them not to drop out. You can see the person who challenged Cruz behaved just like Trump. In other words, he overtalked. He didn't want to hear any response from Cruz. That's the problem with Trump. If Trump is the nominee, Trump is going to be the one who's going to sink Trump, because he can't control his mouth. And it's one thing slandering and shouting at opponents on the primary trail or in the debate, so-called, or against the press who try to question him, because he can get away with that. But when he starts shouting at Congress or at the courts or at foreign governments or at people who can really oppose him and pull the rug from under him should he ever get to the White House, he's going to get in deep trouble. He's clearly he has the worst temperament for being president of any major candidate I have ever seen in decades. And that's what's going to do him in, even though he'll be running maybe against someone like Hillary Trump, and they both have very high unfavorability ratings.
Well, yeah, Hillary Clinton is not quite as high maybe as Trump is on the unfavorable side, but, you know, yeah, you're right. Both of them do have very high unfavorable ratings. Now, when we get to a general election matchup, saying it is the two of them, and Trump, you know, in this hypothetical does beat Cruz, what would you say to somebody who approached you, given your experience, and says, boy, should I run as a third party then? If everybody's against Trump, I should get in there. And then the retort obviously would be, boy, all you're going to do is get Hillary Clinton elected. What about a third party possibility?
I don't think this year, Neil. First of all, it's getting very late to get on the ballots. And second, you know what the hurdles are. You heard it from me. Huge hurdles, even if you run as a third party coming out of a major presidential primary that you've lost.
Right. So that's the thing. I mean, there's going to be a lot of, I think there'll be a lot of pressure on, in some quarters at least, for somebody to do something. But if you're a Republican, say you're a mainstream Republican, maybe it's difficult for you to put yourself in shoes like this, but is it better, as I think some have argued privately, to say, you know what, let's just let whatever happens, happens. If we lose, we lose. But at least we can regroup in 4 years? Is that kind of the logic? Or
It's not that simple. Trump is extremely unpredictable, extremely temperamental. He likes to, in his words, counterpunch more than the person who challenged him. That is not going to succeed in the White House. And I think that if you don't like the Republican Party, you'll want Trump to be the nominee and the president, because he'll turn the Republican Party right down to the local level in races and in Congress into a Trump dump. That's how dominant and egotistical he is, and unwilling to share any alternative views or dialogue.
All right, Ralph Nader there, former presidential candidate, joining us today.